All right, Xavier, welcome to the Creator Empires podcast. Do you do these kinds of interviews often? Or, I mean, we've been trying to schedule this one for a while, right? So really glad to have you on today.
Thank you for inviting me. And lately I haven't done any, but I do like to talk to good friends. So I'm all for it today.
Good
Thanks
to
for
have you
inviting me
here.
again.
I was looking forward to this so much that I actually did a bit of prep. I usually don't prepare too much for these interviews, but I was like, okay, if I'm going to have a chance to have Xavier on the podcast, I might as well do my homework. So I will just give a little bit of background information about you and the companies where you have worked at so that our listeners have an idea about who we are talking to today. So you are one of the co-founders of Elsa. Elsa is one of the bigger language learning companies, language education apps out there. Was founded in 2015. It's a significant company, and over the years, again, this is like, I'm getting these numbers from the internet, right? So might be a bit more or less, but on the internet, I found that the company has raised about 60 million in funding. And on the website, at least, it reports that it has about 90 million downloads. As for a company valuation, on the internet, I found speculations between 90 and 140 million. Valuation. The only point that I'm trying to make here is that this is a serious company that you have co-founded, and now more recently you are working as head of AI. Is that correct at Babbel?
Well, the title is Senior VP of AI for Language Learning. Yeah.
All right. Babbel, for them, I guess everybody knows Babbel, right? Isn't it the second biggest app after Duolingo?
I mean, I don't look at numbers really, but I think depending on what dimension you look at, it could be considered. Yeah, depending on which other dimension, it could even be the first one. I mean, per market, per users, per whatever. So it's a very it's an honor to be working with Babbel. It's a very big company with a very big footprint, with a very well-known brand. Lots of users to attend to. I mean, it's definitely a very nice playground to do AI, and we can talk more about that.
Yes, let's do that. Babbel, indeed, a huge company. Does hundreds of million in revenue, and they have sold over 25 million subscriptions, at least according to the to my ChatGPT research. So now let's start with you, Xavier. You co-founded Elsa. How did that happen?
Well, we have to go back a little bit, and because I started. I'm an engineer by trade. I studied electrical engineering, and then I went into signal processing, where I did a PhD. Already in the area of speech, signal, understanding what people say and who says what, and identifying people across audios. I was doing research on that in a corporate setting. I was working for a telco in Spain, one of the biggest telcos in Europe, Telefonica. And an opportunity came up to work on some algorithms related that can be applied to EdTech, right? So that sort of gauged my interest in the area of EdTech. And we're talking here about what, a startup you didn't mention, but it's something that I did solo when I left my corporate world and I moved to Portugal, where I was creating synchronized books with audio, so ebook and audiobook together, where people can read in sync with the audio.
Yeah.
Which it's more of a receptive oriented edtech or language learning. Also for dyslexia and other things is useful. So what I'm saying here is giving you this context because I discovered this area, the edtech, the language learning, as being a place where I could actually apply my technology background, my knowledge on in speech signals, and to do good and to build something useful for users, right? And then the only problem I had and that's very true. That being a solo entrepreneur for me didn't work. I wasn't motivated. I needed somebody that sort of pushed me to do more and to build a product and to be, push it forward and go out there, speak to people, sell it. I hated that. And I only wanted to build stuff and build cool stuff. So I built a lot of cool stuff, but nothing else. And then I met my co-founder at a technical conference here in Europe, in Germany. And she had this very early prototype but it was already what Elsa became, right? It was focused on pronunciation assessment. She was totally on the right direction. That was a moment where that was 2015, right? Where there's no LLM time. There was like traditional. We already had deep neural networks that in speech had been there from 2012. So it was still not even early days where I don't think anybody had used neural networks in production yet for big things. Well, I might be overstating here, but meaning like it was not like a commodity thing to just plug in and works. And so I love the idea. The idea was changing from this receptive idea of you listening to an audio synchronized with the text to more of okay, let's produce it and let's assess how the production works, right? That crazy enough, I thought, yeah, why not? Let's try. What do we get? And we started together. So, that's long story short. We went on for 10 years. So, and we did pretty well. I'm very happy with what we achieved. Very happy with the teams that I created and I launched and the product, how it evolved over the years. So.
Yeah. What do you like? Had Elsa already? Did it already have traction when you joined?
No. I joined. We were four or five people maximum.
And now?
After, I as you know, I left Elsa a few months ago, so I don't know now how it is. I purposely keep myself very separate, so it continues going well. Lots of new news to the products I hear in the social networks, but I don't know internally how many people are there or how is it organized now. But going back to your question, we were 4 or 5 people, counting roughly, and very soon after I joined, I became the only technical person in there. So we needed to figure out lots of things. We needed to figure out scalability. We needed to figure out many things beyond just the technology, the AI side, right? Because I came into Elsa as the AI hire or the speech technology hire, right? And so no, we went through the walk of the desert, as they say in startups, where I remember very well me and my personal first hire, my right hand in engineering. We were deciding to do a new server, push server deployments when we saw, okay, there is one person, there is nobody in the app right now, globally, right? Globally, 0 people in the app. Oh, let's just push, right? And then we were pushing in the middle of the day. We wouldn't need to care about downtimes, whatever, because we normally, there were 1, 2 people doing it. There were a few months where we were building, and you just have to trust your gut that what you're building will get to somewhere. And definitely, of course, the product that we got to build had nothing to do with what we were offering at that time, right? We did see early traction in a couple of events. In 2016, we won the best startup launch for our iOS launch at South by Southwest. That brought us one of those moments. We've had 2-3 moments like that. Brought us one of those moments where you're like, oh my God, all the servers are full, and we don't have. The scalability is not there. We were not using proper Kubernetes scalability technology.
Mhm.
Scalability is not there. We are just, things are burning hot, right? And people are getting delayed. People are, because, realize, we were doing Elsa DOS audio streaming and processing on the server. So any servers getting too busy, it means quality of service decay for the user. So it's really noticeable, right? So we want that all of a sudden, so many downloads, so many users using it. Another time on that same year, I think, at that time we were much more ready already. It's when I think Salma Hayek mentioned us in an interview in the late night show where she made a joke and talked about Elsa related to her husband cheating on her, or supposedly cheating on her, and that was hilarious. At the same time, we did not plan on it. We did not know. People sent us the link, and we were like, oh, maybe we should reach out to her. So, but yeah, it grew monotonically. It always went up, and that's I think the healthy growth of a startup. Though nowadays you see startups that just go hockey stick. For Elsa it was more healthy, keep going, and as we were releasing new models, we were releasing new features, we were seeing more and more attraction from users.
Yeah, I'm asking the question because I talk to other founders of language apps, and everybody's always trying to figure out, okay, how do you grow an app nowadays in 2026 and beyond, right? And one says ads, for the other ones it's partnerships, for the other ones it's, I don't know, cold outreach, and maybe a very strong B2B approach. I've written a few books about this, and I think based on what I've learned so far, it's trying lots of different things, see what works, do more of that, and then the thing stops working. Was it what I'm hearing from you is that it was not one thing? Like, was it more the product, or was it more the marketing, or really starting that kind of product at that time? Like, was there no competition? Any other insights from any other things that we can learn from Elsa's growth?
I think, well, I don't have a step-by-step rule book that you will be able to follow, because every case is very different, right? So I'm not going to tell you or the audience what you need to do at all, right? But what I saw is that it's not one thing. It's, you need to have a strong product. So users come to you and then test it. You have a window of opportunity, nowadays, and the window is getting smaller and smaller because users are bombarded by many different options, right? But so you need to have a good product, you need to have good technology, your value proposition needs to be very, very clear. And then you need to put it out there. Users need to find out about it, right? Either you have a brand and people talk about it. Sometimes people talk about it because of the different reasons, like the Salma Hayek or some other event we had. And then, hey, people come to you, like the South by Southwest. But yeah, if people come and then what they see is not what was advertised, because you can do a lot of marketing, right? Selling that you have like the whatever, right? Up to some point, you can get by selling smoke, but users are not stupid, right? So, if you can get past the 5 minutes and of trying it out, and the users start considering buying your membership or buying whatever it's sold, then you're in a very good position, good position, right? But yeah, as a technical guy, as the AI guy, I will always push for the highest possible product, the best onboarding, meaning like people see what's in there and make it work. It cannot crash on them. The product needs to be robust, and then let the marketing guys, let other departments do their magic. Departments or co-founders, right?
Yeah,
do their magics to get the word out and get it to the hands of people. Download it.
Mm-hmm. And do that for 10 years. And then you have tens of millions of users.
every year for Elsa was very different, very different. I mean, sometimes I was missing the first years where it was only two of us, right, as I mentioned, and almost no users, but very happy, very low run rate, and building and getting things like getting the deltas are much bigger because you are creating, you have an idea, you're creating, you're adding, this week we just added a totally new feature, right? And then you get to a phase where it's more of the marketing phase. Okay, you have a product, you need to sell it, right? So there's a lot of all the icing in the cake to make it. And then you get to the adaptation phase. Now we wanna adapt to these users that we see that probably they are interested in the product. Like when we discovered that, it is very important when we translate the app to a specific language, as we always taught English, right? But we could make that the app UI would be in Spanish, in French, in whatever. So when we translate to that, they tend to be coming a lot more from that country. So, okay, we see some interest in a specific country, let's translate it, right? So you're adjusting, you're iterating, right? And or when there is a totally new, there was in 22, when LLMs, 23 LLMs came up, and we're like, okay, we need to do something about it. And that's sort of a reborn, like, okay, you need conversational AI. Which is something, by the way, that we had been trying for 3 or 4 times seriously, and technology was not ready.
Yeah.
We were always getting into a type of call center almost. If you say this, do that. If you say, and then if you go a little off track, done, you're lost, right? So with LLMs, we could actually get users to have a conversation, and then even using the technology that Elsa had built with traditional AI to actually do an proper assessment on what they say, and give them feedback so that they know what to change, and etc. So it's, there is different phases that give you, and I said almost every year we had totally different, right?
Yeah. I guess one thing that has changed is that, like 10 years ago, when you guys started, you kind of had to invent your own technology, right? And that's what you did with the voice recognition software. Whereas nowadays, like sometimes we have the dilemma, we're like, okay, we don't have this functionality, should we build it ourselves, right? And then actually, like right now, we don't dare to build anything ourselves because there is a chance that in 2 months from now, just some like a third party software is going to release an API where everybody has access to that technology all of a sudden. Does that sound familiar?
Totally and absolutely, Jan. Where do I start? So nowadays, I mean, we are in very interesting times, right? Because as builders, those of like me that we are builders at heart, we just can build everything, like everything. And don't even get me started about the coding, right? I mean, I hadn't been doing coding for some time, coding like serious, like I never stopped tinkering with things, but like serious coding that I could put to production, somebody else was doing it, right? And then, I mean, I'm back at it as much as I want because this knowledge, this skill of knowing what you want and getting your Claude or your Codex or whatever to do it for you and do it right. It's so powerful, right? I mean, it's powerful that we know what we want. It's like, I mean, I think I'm totally side answering your question. I'll come back to your question though. But the fact that, it's important that there is the driver. The bus needs a driver, right? And the driver, I mean, knowing that if I know what I want, if I have the knowledge of what is it that I want to build and how I want to build it, then telling the AI to do it, it's so good, right? But yeah, I mean, it also becomes a problem because no longer modes get destroyed, technology modes get destroyed or become null. Speed triples or 10 times X what we used to do before, right? Something that you do now that it's so amazing. In 2 months, somebody has already figured it out, or earlier, because they just put one of those agents there to try to find it out, and it finds out, more or less. So yeah, I mean, it is still possible. It is totally possible, but it's more difficult to find something that is truly defensive only exclusively on the technology side. It is still possible, in my opinion, right? So, but yeah, I mean, nowadays, I mean, there is so many companies offering, even when I think about speech, right? Speech technologies. Yeah, in 2015 there was nothing. I mean, I remember earlier than that, I think 2013 or something, that a good friend of mine that was a manager at Google, working on speech recognition, he told me, we were in a conference, he told me, hey, there is this amazing toolkit now out there. And this was not the first toolkit that was available, right? But hey, this one is Apache license. So we can actually use it to create products, right?
Yeah.
And at that time I was deep into research, but that sort of clicked. It's like, oh, okay, right? So, but that was only one, right? Nowadays, and there was nothing out there, right? There was no money, no perceived value on companies. Well, I lied. There was the Google and there was the Amazon and there was the big players had some speech recognition APIs, right? But something that you could take and you could adapt it and there was nothing, right? So nowadays, I mean, you have almost like a catalog. Go choose. You almost go by, okay, which one is easiest to integrate, right? And which one can get me to work faster, right? And you go by that. You go by the specs, almost, not by the technology. But yeah.
So what is a few months ago we had not that long ago actually, we had a casual call where we talked about vibe coding, right? And this was just after OpenClaw was released, and after that call, I was like, okay, I've heard about vibe coding, but now I need to give it a try. And I vibe coded my own like dashboards in 5 minutes. And then I shared it with the team and also with my co-founder, and he went really install Claude Code, and he locked himself up for 3 weeks. And he was like, okay, I'm gonna do a challenge. I'm gonna try to vibe code everything that we've built with Teacher AI with a team of 5 in 3 weeks, like as a separate project, just to see how fast he could go. And he locked himself up for 3 weeks. After 3 weeks, he came out and he like kind of presented online, like in the team meeting, what he has built over 3 weeks. It looked very Claude Code, but it was crazy, right? And again, this was just a prototype, something with one user, no safety protocols, no database, or maybe a very simple database. I don't know the details. And we were like, okay, what if we start doing this in our own code, right? What if we give them access to and then we have like developers check the PRs. We're still playing with that. We're still careful, because I think, I mean, the advice that I've heard so far is like, yeah, vibe coding is great for building prototypes and getting things off the ground quickly. I guess the $1 million question, or the $1 billion question, let's make it even more exciting today, is how can we vibe code within our own projects? And with our own projects, can we use vibe coding, or can we really just plug and play a vibe coder into a huge code base of an existing app that has been around for 10 years?
Yes. Let me tell you a couple of things from what you said, right?
Yeah.
Your co-founder, actually, I loved your story, because I think you told me something about that before, but I did not know you guys talked about it. And then he's actually, I love it that he's so open to anything coming up new, right? And then he's like, I'm gonna try it. And then you also like as a CEO, right? I think, nowadays there is a problem with CEOs that they read Bloomberg or whatever, whatever. I mean, they read things online and they're like, oh yes, let's fire everybody, let's do it, right? And so please don't do that, right? I mean, it's there is this. It is difficult to build software. It is difficult to build fully end to end. You mentioned that, right? He showed you something that looked ugly. It did work very well for one person, but what else is missing behind, right? And I'm sure, I mean, actually, for somebody like him that has built it, has built the rest, knows what needs to be built. That's what I was saying before, and I want to emphasize, right? He knows what needs to be built, and can handhold a coder, whatever, a codex, a cloud code, can hold it with the right specs, with the right checking to build what needs to be built. It will build it. It will build it, right? Now, going to your question about that is called, by the way, brownfield coding versus greenfield, right? It's very easy to start with a white sheet of paper and say, hey, I want to build this and that and that, and then yes, the thing will build it, right? And believe me, I mean, it does a very good job. And if you don't constrain, you can always constrain the technology you want to use, but if you don't constrain it, there is a few technologies like TypeScript, like Node.js, like that these models know very, very well. So it will really do a one shot. But so if you go to a brownfield project, like something that is, you have a big code base, you need to have experience. You need to have people that have tried things. They know the best practice to do it and stuff. And then I wouldn't call it vibe coding. I would call it AI assisted coding. I think that's the term that we use nowadays. This changes so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely with the right guardrails, with the right PR reviews, where there is always a human, in addition to other AIs that also like give you hints, with the right everything, with the right test-driven development as well. Absolutely, definitely, you can modify any existing code base and even modernize it with the right the right process, the right plan. Don't expect. There's some people that keep saying online, right, that I have this code base, 20,000 lines of code, and I went in with the new model from whoever, and I said, please refactor the whole thing, and then 20 hours later, the thing was not working. Of course, of course. This is a CEO message, right? When the CEO also says, I'm firing all my engineers because now AI is replacing them much cheaper. Well, good luck, right? But good engineering together with AI enhances you so much. So we can do more, bigger quality, because we have this help.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to figure out then is, what is the ideal workflow? Is it that the CTO, that's what you used to be at Elsa, right? Is it that like the lead developer or the CTO goes design vibe code new features, and when they have something that works and that looks good, they show it to the developers and say, okay, now build this thing. This is exactly how I want it. Or can it directly start making changes in the code, and then we just have developers checking the PRs, making sure that it doesn't break anything in the app? I mean, there's so many components, right? I guess the big question is, how do we? I guess the disadvantage of vibe coding, or the dangerous thing, is that you can break things, right? If you don't know what to do.
No. I mean, this is the specific. Everybody will have their own recipe, right? So I mean, I'm gonna tell you how I'm doing it recently, and just experiment, get your own. And for anybody listening to us, I mean, this is my experience. Do it at your own risk, right? So experiment and see what works, right? But nowadays we do a lot of specs driven development, For a project that already exists, the very, very, very first step is for the AI to do research for you. So basically, go through the code. Like you can start with, okay, please explain explaining what's going on here, right?
Yeah.
And then start asking, hey, if you had to build this and that, I mean, how would you put it in here? And then you iterate, right? And then that comes back, this back and forth, which can take, a couple of hours or whatever. I mean, this back and forth then ends up in a document, which is a plan, a development plan. And that's the spec, right? That development plan, it has, some people started with a more product-led development plan, some people. So that development plan is sort of the basis that is very accurately saying, okay, you go here for this, you go there for that, because you already have been looking at your code and you know where you want to do the changes, right? And so you are involved, you know what's in there. It's not like a product person can go in and build a feature now. No, you need to know what's in there, and you need to correct it whenever it's looking at something that you're like, no, this is not the right place. This is not how I would build it, right? Don't do this because I know we're going to hit problems, right? So once you have it, then you have whatever number of lines document. I love Markdown for that. Some people are pushing for HTML nowadays. I haven't tried it, but I loved my V or Vim or Emacs type editors, like old style. And then you say, okay, go build it, right? Go build it. And sometimes even by phases, if it's like very big, go build phase 1. Check it, pull requests, all tests, pass, pull requests, boom, okay, gone. Phase 2. And then, you implement it. But really, really like the AI needs to understand what's in there, and you need to help it through. Because, also context windows are limited, and I would not recommend, even if you say, I have a 1 million token, whatever. No, I mean, don't go beyond 60% of the context window. Things will start to go bad. So be aware of that. Clean context window anytime that you're like, okay, now another sort of thing. Let's clean it up. We have the document, right? We are not losing anything, but let's clean it up. Hey, read what we've done until now. Now let's look at this component here, right? And boom, boom, boom. So it's a conversation, and a conversation, by the way, that these guys here, because I'm coming from the speech world, right? So I'm so amazed how nowadays I can talk to my computer and in coding. So basically, many times I do these things just speaking to it. Like I read it, I'm like, a microphone turn on, and hey, I don't like this, I don't like that. And initially I was hesitant and always thinking, how do I say things? Now I just speak. And sometimes I change my sentence mid-sentence. Doesn't matter. The LLMs are so intelligent nowadays. They catch you. They know what you're saying. They apply it, right?
So if a technical co-founder can do everything by himself with a bit of help of, Codex or Claude Code or whatever, then what is the role of the developers?
Well,
what would it be over the next 5 years?
Let's look at it in another way, right? I mean, how many eyes do you have, and how many hands do you have, and how many compartments in your brain do you have, right? Even if the technical co-founders might get very used and become very proficient at this. I mean, I see people that are like, I'm cognitively dead. I mean, it's like so much, it's so demanding. I have now like five terminals open, cranking features. I don't even know where to go answer the answer, because I don't, all of them are pinging me for my, input. Like if you can actually have a team of people that know how to use AI, that know how to use these tools, and they are all working in sync, how much more can you do? See what I mean? The question here is not, can we replace engineers? No, it's like, how much faster, how much more impact can the team you have plus AI have in the market? Now my worry nowadays, I mean, and this is a true statement, right? I mean, maybe I'm gonna be proven wrong, but all those junior engineers that come out without this knowledge of how should things be done, or they have to get themselves up to speed almost alone, because or in traditional companies which still exist, right? But in a fast-moving AI company, it's going to be hard for them even to get a position, because they're like, no, it's you don't need anymore to implement those very basic functions or software blocks. I mean, you already have the AI doing it for you. It's going to take you more time to explain it to the junior than to just hint it to the AI and AI doing it, right? So that's where I think it becomes something we need to figure out how to bring up, because we will want to retire at some point, right? How to bring up those people up and get them to senior or get them to mid-level so that they can use all of that. But anyway, that's, I guess, I think, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think something else that I read is that, like before, you used to tell the developer, like you used to send them a UX design, right? And then describe exactly, okay, here's the thing that we want, right? And then they go ahead and develop it. Whereas now you can just ask. Well, let's say you can just ask any vibe code software to do it for you. I think that's an idea that I read somewhere is, instead of asking your developers to create features, is asking them to, for example, increase retention of the app. Right. So instead of saying, okay, go do this thing, you give them this huge project, app retention, and go figure out what needs to do. And then that person might need to do, 10 things. But because they are more productive now, they can manage so many things.
I think it's more, I think the point I would make is that the boundaries between roles are more fuzzy, and there is a lot more overlap than before. Yeah. But a very good designer will continue to be much better in designing your app than your developer, and a very good product person will be much better at understanding what users might want and understanding the signals than the designer or the developer. Now, the designer can have an idea, and instead of coming to the developer and saying, "Hey, here is my Figma board, and here is my hand drawing of my idea," they can actually even already build it, right? And yesterday somebody showed me some prototypes done with Claude Design that looked amazing. Even with the colors and all the design templates that we use at Babbel, right? So
roles are shifting.
Roles are overlapping with each other, and the handover it's way simpler because the developer already sees, okay, this is exactly what the designer needs. I just need to make sure that in the back end everything hooks in, or in the app everything hooks in nicely, and the product manager already comes in with, this is the type of feature I think we should build, right? And so, but it's this triangle, right? I mean, of these three main roles you normally have in a company, that I don't think anyone should replace the others. And whoever disagrees with me, okay, they have their reasons, but I think they should not replace each other. They just have to enhance each other and work much better. And there is much more opportunity to understand each other, rather than before, where you are going to design as an engineer, you're going to a design meeting and you're like, oh, okay, so you want to build that crazy thing? How the heck am I going to do it, right? And now it's like, hey, here is here is a prototype here. And then you can even take that and put it in already, right? Mm-hmm. So.
All right. I know you are at Babbel. What do you say, director of AI? The title was a bit longer.
No, senior vice president. Senior Vice President of AI for Language Learning. Yeah, it's a mouthful. I don't pretend to do AI, right? I love EdTech. I love language learning, and just other than that, AI language learning. For me, these are the two keywords: AI language learning, right? Then director, vice president.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't, that's whatever they agreed to offer me.
Okay, so you help Babbel using AI to create a better learning experience, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. I mean, so Babbel has as I mentioned before, right? The biggest thing that attracted me from Babbel is that it has such a big user pool. It's such a well-reputed company. It has many things of that well-reputed company. It's very strong in pedagogy. So whatever, we really want to teach the languages and we really want to teach them well. So it's a premium product. And it is covering already so many languages and many more that we want to cover. I mean, Babbel is already teaching now 14 languages, and it's really, really helping a lot of people learning in what we believe it's very effective learning. People come out after using Babbel with really knowing a little bit better, or whatever level they wanted to know of the language.
You joined Babbel. Babbel has been around for what, like 20 years?
19 around, yeah.
Almost 20 years, about 1,000 employees and freelancers. And then this whole thing happens, right? Like the rise of ChatGPT and AI and all large language models. And now you need to make sure that the company, I guess, it's one of your responsibilities to make sure that Babbel, to make it future proof, right? To make it lift to make sure it's going to lift on this AI wave, just like any other tech company is trying to do. How do you do that? I mean, I know it's a big question. I'm not sure what you can share and what not, but yeah, loving to hear your take on.
Well, I mean, I don't see it as a one man job, right? Absolutely, but yeah, I mean, when I joined Babel, and a group of people there, a pretty big group, right? We really believe on making sure that the Babel app, sorry, making sure that the Babel app evolves according to the times that we are in, right? Yes. So there is the ways of teaching change, but the pedagogy behind it, the method, needs to stay grounded, right? So what I want to say here is that we cannot just say, let's build something totally different. No. Let's make sure that the app evolves accordingly to the times, right? It uses both internal processes, as well as things that you can do on the app, evolves according to what the current technology allows us to do, which was not available 19 years ago, of course. So yeah, I came in and with a good group of people, and the leadership at Babbel, and I think the company at large, there is this process of how can we continue to make the app continue to be relevant for users, continue to be serving the users well, right? And introduce all of this that people expect, right? Because it's like, as we discussed before, right? It's so easy to build something nowadays, and there is so many competitors out there, right? Offering language learning, right? So we are in a great position because people do know the company. People know that the what we teach is legit. Mm-hmm. And how we teach is legit. Now we need to make sure that they just don't come to us because they heard about us and we are that dinosaur that still offering the same thing for 20 years. Yeah. But we actually offer whatever out there can offer, right? But with the right grounding, with the right methodology, with the right guardrails, so you just don't all of a sudden see whatever, your dog ate the banana. I mean, you do see content that makes sense to you. You do see experiences that will not just go rogue. For example, in a conversation with a conversational AI partner in the Babbel Speak feature, for example, right? So yes, yeah, it's so really like it's not a one-man show. It's like a very big effort. It's a company direction. Yeah. And with this, I'm so fortunate, and I really enjoyed that to be able to be part of this movement, right? So, yeah.
So what do you think are going to be some of the feature that any language app is going to have in, let's say, 5 years from now, right? And I can maybe start answering the question myself, and you can finish my answer.
Sure.
So one thing, conversation practice, right? Something that I think that's the most obvious one. Something
something about that, yeah.
I know something about that. Something that wasn't it was possible. I guess it was only became only possible after the release of GPT. Customized learning paths, right? Because now we know exactly, we have the data, right? I guess Babbel has even has a lot of data. They know what kind of mistakes that users make. I don't know what keeps them coming back. And I saw some other survey from an educational platform that said that like the number one reason people stay or spend more time is when there are customized curricula, right? So when there is a clear learning path. Duolingo already has that. I guess Babbel also has. I haven't used Babbel for a while, but it's a learning path. But then also like have.
I invite you to try it again. Yeah.
I will. Okay, I need to try it again. Customized learning, learn from your mistakes, features like that. I think. Wait, was it? Anything else? I haven't really thought beyond that. I guess anything that I'm missing.
I mean, yes, tons. But I mean, when you talk about when you talk about conversational AI, yes, I think this is maybe the biggest driver or biggest new functionality that came with all the ChatGPT family, right? All of a sudden, you can actually talk to your phone and talk about anything, right? Anything that is programmed to talk about, right? So this allows us to do role-playing conversations, allows us to do like general conversational where you can be you, and then the AI can be just a partner, like like a companion that will track how you're doing, might recommend you how to solve some problems in your language. You can make it more of an explicit tutor that will give you exercises. I mean, you can do a lot of things. You can do it in many different flavors, conversational AI, and really make it work. And I think this is definitely a must for any app nowadays to offer, right? Mm-hmm. You touched as well on the you called it customized learning paths. There is many dimensions in there, right? I mean, the learning path has to be customized, has to be adaptive to you. Like customized means adaptive over time. Because customized, you can customize it at the beginning based on the onboarding feature, onboarding selections you do, right? Jan likes sports, likes to travel, has his own startup based on these three things you created. This is your learning path, right? But over time, like, Jan is very strong in this area, very weak on the other one. Let's modify the weights of what I give him. And then over time, your learning path is different than the other learning path, right? And then we go into the whole theory of the Bloom 2 Sigma problem, where you are actually tutoring, you're actually catering to the specific learners' problems, and you make them move much faster than when you have a whole classroom of everybody gets the same thing, right? Yes. So absolutely, right? One area that maybe might come with this, but I think is very important, is about the feedback, about the analysis of how you're doing in one way or the other, and the feedback, right? And this is something that at Elsa, referring back, we did very, very, very well, right? Because you are always asking the question, so what, right? This thing is red, so what? So what do I do? How can I improve it, right? And having an AI, which not always is LLMs, right? LLMs are our big canon, but the canon is not useful for everything, right? So you need something that is repetitive, consistent, accurate feedback, telling you what to do next, telling you how to do it, right? So this is also very important for a language learning app to help to understand where the user is wrong, and to be able to help either by giving you a new lesson or telling you exactly how to repeat next time, etc. Right? What else? I mean, there is a bunch of things that the user will not see, but affect how things come out, which has to do with one thing that I'll call it out, right? It's content. AI can help us a lot in building high quality content. And I'm not saying you go to ChatGPT and say, hey, give me content in French. I mean, it will give you, right? But is it catered to you? Is it in the right format, the right level, at the taking into account what you know, what you don't know? I mean, so it's a little bit more complicated than that, but it can help us, if done well, to actually produce content that otherwise, at the scale that personalization needs, we would not be able to, right?
Yeah.
And maybe there is others. So I mean, yeah, but it's a big new world, and people, looking, having the space to innovate and try new things, having those 3 weeks that your co-founder took to experiment with it, right? That's the right approach, and that's the right framework, right? I mean, if you go run, and no, don't look left, don't look right, this is what we need to do, then you're missing out on a lot of these options possibilities that really can make an impact for these products. So
what were you? I'm just thinking about the listener, right? So listeners are, well, they're not the owner of Babbel or Duolingo, or they have a small company, right?
Maybe some of them are. I mean, I don't know.
Maybe some of them.
Duolingo is a publicly traded company, right? So
yeah. Exactly. But for those who have their own project, and maybe they're into tech, maybe not, maybe they're not technical, they're hearing all of this and they're like, wow, maybe I should give it a trial. Any
Sure.
recommendations? Like, is it just do what my co-founder did? Like, what are the things you should watch out for? At what stage do you actually need a developer, or at least someone who's technical? Because you need to host your code somewhere, right? You need safety, you need, I don't know, DevOps and all that stuff. How would you go about this if you were a non-technical founder with a language business?
Yeah, I think I'll go back to what my thought I was giving you before about this triangle between product, design, and engineering, right? So let's look at it here from the non-technical co-founder and the technical co-founder, right? So we take the technical co-founder out. The non-technical co-founder. Nowadays, the non-technical co-founder can do a lot more. Let's say you have an idea. You want to do something, and nowadays you can actually, I would tell your audience, just go out, investigate how. Doesn't matter. I mean, go to OpenAI, or go to Anthropic, or even Gemini. One of these three, I would say. Maybe other players like Grok that could also, but I would go to one of these three, learn how to use their products, and then give it a try to start doing something, right? Even if it's just a Vibe coded UI, something that shows what your idea is, right? And that will serve two purposes, right? One is you can then go out and show it to people. And if you are serious about it, you can actually even raise investment or interest from angel investors because of this. And the second thing is you will be able to attract your technical co-founder way better, because your technical co-founder, if he's sitting with you in a coffee shop and you're telling him and this and that and the market and the total addressable, and he's going to be thinking like, how the heck do I build this thing, right? What the heck do you want to do? What is it? And then you're like, by the way, here is this website, or here is this app I vibe coded, and hey, it's vibe coded, it's nothing there, right? It's empty, but here is, and he's going to be like, now I get it. Okay. And so this overlap allows this technical co-founder to just run, right? Now, don't expect that without this technical co-founder, you're going to be able to unless this person is CEO and technical at the same time, and then maybe we'll have a solopreneur situation, right? That except for me, that I just couldn't get the drive to keep going. I needed somebody with a needle behind my butt to make me go, right? I mean, in a very visual situation, but so if it's not the case, I mean, this technical CEO can do everything. But if not, hey, try, experiment, learn a bit. Don't get overwhelmed by the difficulty of things, because it is not, right. And it's just you learn a software, and then it click, 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 and you actually get UIs, and you can even host it. You can even go to Lovable, amazing company, or you can go to Vercel, or you can go to any of these, and you can host it with just, learn a few things, put it there, get your first testers or whatever beta users to use it, and look for a co-founder that's going to take it and go fly, right? And because the co-founder will know what needs to be built, will also use AI to build it fast, and you will really be then assured that will this thing actually crash? No, because there is somebody that knows how to do it and be able to take it on, right?
Yeah. So it looks like you're always going to need like both someone who can market a thing, who can sell it, and somebody who's technical, right? Because even though vibe coding software is good, like you need to understand what's going on in the magic box, right? Otherwise,
I see myself, I don't sell.
Yeah.
I'm very bad at selling, right? I mean, I get so nervous when I get this, we'll see, we'll think about it. I'm like, okay, do you want it or not, right? And then you lose it, right? So definitely, it's a totally different species, and we need them. And this doesn't change, in my opinion. Nothing changes. I mean, we still have the need for very good CEOs, very good salespeople, and the need for very good technical people, right?
Yeah. Final question, and what are you most excited about for the next 5 years in language learning?
Well, if you were asking me that a year ago or like 2 years ago, I was totally lost, because I'm like, where are these LLMs going to get to, right? Is it the end of it? Is it people don't need language learning anymore, right? They just do it. Vive do it, right? Vive learn it, or even they just use a simultaneous translation device and that's it, right? But no, I mean, I'm very excited because we can actually, with AI, with this thing, we can think of what many things we wanted to do for many years. Like I told you before, right? I tried conversational AI 3 times before I had the technology to use it, right? To do it. And in many different areas, the same thing. I mean, you now have such a low barrier to try something. And sometimes I'm thinking of something like, it looks complicated. I'm like, no, actually, let's go to Claude or to ChatGPT, and let's have a chat. And normally you end up with a plan, right? And you're like, why don't I just build a POC, a proof of concept, right? That's as a greenfield project, as a weekend project, right? So this is so incredibly amazing, and this for any area, but for language learning, makes us be able to actually build functionality and build towards this highly adaptive system that, don't forget it, for me, and this is like what I'm saying is like, I'm so excited of my Babbel journey now, that it allows us to build something that works for the user and that we know that is effective, that the user does actually learn, right? And I think that the next 5 years we will just get there. We will just build things that actually, make us. They make people see that language learning apps are actually effective. They just need to put the time. It's not like their TikTok that they, it's not entertainment. We will make it entertaining because, of course, I mean, you need to be entertained somehow, so you keep going. But you can actually take it on, build the habit, and actually improve. And then you can do it 24/7 or whenever you are. Because the big problem is like, when you go to a physical teacher, like I went to language school when I was a kid, right? And I've met many people, even last few years, that they have their private tutors that they Skype call or Zoom call and have 1 hour, but then they have always to schedule. And I mean, now you have it in your pocket. You have 10 minutes now. Let's go do it. Do the lesson. Do a little bit of practice. Like, and we'll get it better and better and better, more effective, better content, better features, better functionality. This is what's going to happen in the next 5 years.
Yeah. And that's like the big question, and also is like how do you measure if it actually works, right? Because of course you can look at retention rates, how long people stay on the platform, after how long they churn, right? But then if you if you update for that, or if you optimize for that, you end up with like I don't know, a Facebook, like a massive wall with huge, I don't know, ads. You get you see all kinds of stuff on Facebook nowadays, right? But people are not learning anything. So is it then a mix of those metrics that I mentioned, but then also listen to the customer, or use the app yourselves? I mean, that's something that we do. Like we use the apps ourselves all the time, and we feel when it's working or not. And is there anything else like that you can measure? Or
the very first thing is use the app yourself, and we do that all the time as well. I mean, the advantage is that there is always, we're teaching so many languages, there is always a few languages that I don't speak, right? So we get the feeling and we're like, oh, no, this is boring to hell, or no, this is nice, right? This is one thing. There is always this ways to measure more in how to say, like doing experimentation, experimentation we've done in the past, and we currently have something ongoing where you do enroll a group of people that use the app for a while, and then they do a test before, they do a test after, you measure exactly. But then, for the day-to-day user, I mean, if you have been more or less constant, and you have to know yourself, right? I mean, have I actually given enough time to this? If you're more or less constant and have done it as a habit, you'll see that after a little period of time, after some time, whenever you encounter yourself in a situation in that language, you have to see whether you feel more comfortable and you can actually do something, right? If you cannot, then maybe that means that the app hasn't done a good job. If you cannot, but you also haven't given it much time, you've given it like you open the app just to pass the streak, you've done a little thing and that's it. Don't lie to yourself. You're not actually learning, right? You're just doing the gamification, right? You're just going to collect the sticker. But if you actually try it, you actually put the time, and then you see that it's actually working. That's, I think, the best proof we can have, right? And I mean, now it's too early to know this. What people say. I'm not so close to the customer support department here to know what actually our customers say. But when I was at Elsa, I was very close, looking at exactly what the customers were saying, and we were from time to time constantly getting people reaching out to us and saying, hey, I just gained so much more confidence in English. I passed the exam after practicing with Elsa for a while. And so it was really rewarding, right? People that would actually put the time and would actually do it, right? Would actually want to learn.
And this is I guess the big dilemma with that language learning apps have, right? Are we going to build this feature that's actually really good and effective, but people don't want to do it because it's too hard? Or are we going to build this quiz where people just have to click and it's very satisfying because you hear all the sounds and the vibrations? It's almost like eating candy versus broccoli, right? Like the candy makes you feel better.
Yes.
The broccoli is actually the thing that makes you look better or make you lose weight.
Well, it's like the thing that somebody told me in the past, that a language learning app is that thing that you have to do, but normally it's painful. You don't really want to do it.
Yeah.
Versus an online game or a TikTok or whatever that you really know it's not good for you, but you really want to do it because it's just, it's so easy. And so, I mean, at the end of the day, we need to bring in some forms of dopamine and some forms of gamification in all of these things, or else it's so unbearably boring that people basically, hey, I mean, we are all humans, right? I mean, that's why the expression comes from. We are all human, right? We are humans. So yeah, we will not do something that is too boring, even if we know it's going to be good for us in the long term. You're like, in the long term, we never saw the future, right? Do I really need it? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, with if people get stick on it, and if you have the right pedagogy, the right way to teach something, and then people see the reward, that's the best, and that's what fulfills me, to know that I am building something that is not just there to get people to trap people into buying a subscription, right?
Yeah. So maybe the goal is to have a very clear core way of teaching, a very clear method, and then you can add the bells and the whistles just to make it a bit more interesting. But the core needs to be
absolutely there. Exactly. The core needs to be solid. The pedagogy, the method needs to be very solid. You need to know that in that way you are teaching correctly, and then put all the whistles you can, so that people, it's like with a spoonful of sugar, the medicine goes down. That thing that I forgot. It's like with a little bit of sugar, you can swallow the pills you need, right? If we consider like.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Xavier. We went a bit over time, so I appreciate you for your time and sharing all your knowledge here with our listeners. And hopefully have you on someday in the future. We're going to be looking at Babbel and going to be following you. Where can people follow you? LinkedIn?
I'm mostly in LinkedIn. So look for my name and you should find me.
I will add the links in the description.
It was a great pleasure talking to you, Jan, and looking forward to catching up in the future as well.
All right.